Hi, I'm Maurice Singfield. Welcome to The Stop Show. Today's show features Oliver Klaus. Oliver Klaus is a band from Waterloo that I started with my brother Bryan in 1967. In 1968, Jerry Cushen from Fulford joined the band, and we quickly started playing throughout the province of Quebec, at community centers, high schools, and special events. Inspired by the British pop music invasion, the three of us, like so many young people at the time, embarked on a musical journey. Our dream was eventually to perform and record our own songs. Bryan played drums, I played guitar, and Jerry played bass. Living in the Eastern Townships, we didn't have access to recording studios, and if we had of, we wouldn't have been able to afford them. When we heard that CHEF AM, the local radio station out of Granby, was selling off some of their recording equipment, we took out a loan from a bank and bought some of the equipment, 2 microphones and a mixing console. We decided to upgrade our practice room, which we rented in downtown Waterloo, by building a soundproof wall from old construction blocks. Once completed, we installed our recording equipment. Our practice room was now a recording studio. So we started recording our own songs and remotely our live performances. By the time 1970 had come along, we had recorded enough material to put out our own album. We decided that the A-side of our self-titled album would be made up of studio recordings. The B-side would be comprised of a live recording we had made at the Waterloo Arena in 1969. Recently, I've transferred tapes from recordings of the early years of Oliver Klaus, and I would like to share them with you. The first song is taken from our 1970 self-titled album and is called For the Boys.
Speaking on behalf of the boys, can honestly say the other side restaurant was for better days. Listen to what we are doing now. The gift is here to stay. The Glen in the kitchen. Remember it well.
After 4 years of playing with the band, Jerry left Oliver Klaus. Replacing Jerry wasn't an easy task. He was a unique bass player and a natural fit for our musical direction. It was 1973 when Brian and I found our new bass player, Michael Hollenbeck. Like us, he was from Waterloo and was eager to be part of the band. Soon after, the decision was made to include another Waterloo musician into the band, Earle Jones, an acoustic 12-string guitar player. With his guitar, Earle was able to transform our sound into a softer rock genre, which was reminiscent of the early days of Oliver Klaus, when we used to write more folk rocky tunes. The new musicians both sang and added an extra dimension to our vocal qualities. It was around this time, 1973-74, that we were approached by EAB Productions out of Lewiston, Maine. Ed Boucher, the president, signed us to a contract and began recording our material in his Lewiston studio. Ed had compiled a demo tape of our material and has sent it out across the United States to all the major labels. He got a response from Warner Brothers out of California. They were interested in the band's sound and wanted to release a single of Rock and Roll Heaven, a song that they managed through their publishing company. So we went back and recorded Rock and Roll Heaven for them. They loved it. They wanted to release it immediately internationally. However, Ed had made a decision that it would be better for our careers if we were to have an album deal. Warner Brothers weren't interested in giving us an album deal at the time, so they gave the song to the Righteous Brothers. It later became a top 10 hit for them. Here is our version of Rock and Roll Heaven.
Rainbows, Janice took a piece of our hearts, and Otis brought us all to the dock of the bay. Sing a song to light my fire, remember Jim that way. They've only found another place to play. Sweethearts from the past, they crystallized our lives on the radio. The ones who loved them first of all have left before their time, but they'll all be back together when we meet in one big show. No matter who you are, 'cause everybody's got a song to sing, and everyone's a star. If you believe in forever, then life is just a one-night stand. If there's a rock and roll heaven, well, you know they got a hell of a band. Rock
In 1974, Oliver Klaus changed the game. Michael and Earle had gone on their separate ways, and we were looking for new musicians to replace them with. X Tremblay, also known as Peter X Tremblay, was from the Sherbrooke area and was living in the Waterloo region at the time. Through friends, we became acquainted and learned of Pierre's incredible skills as a guitarist. After a few jam sessions, Bryan and I were convinced that Pierre was the musician we were looking for. Still looking for a bass player, I ran into Jerry Cushen one day and found out that he was available to join us in a recording session we had planned with Pierre. We were to record a new tune called Easy Living. Sadly, this was to be the last time we played with Jerry. After a few practice runs, Jerry immediately fell into the groove of the song. It was as though he had never left the band 3 years earlier.
I've been hounded most of the time. I can't find a way to settle down. Tensions running wild with excitement all around. There are times I feel like screaming out loud.
"1974 proved to be a good year for Oliver Klaus. We finally got to play the Terrace Inn in Bonneville. With Jerry Cushen gone, X Tremblay introduced us to a friend of his, Bob Turmel, a bass player from Granby. It didn't take us long to realize that Bob was a great talent. He agreed to join the band, and from that day on, Oliver Klaus became a fixture in the townships. We started off playing Fridays and Saturdays and gradually turned it into a 4-day gig by adding Thursdays and Sundays to the schedule. People came from all over the townships, making it the place to be. We continued recording our songs in our Waterloo studio and gradually added the tunes to our repertoire until we had reached a 50-50 split between cover tunes and original material. The next song you'll hear is taken from those sessions in 1974, and it's called Dance to the New Rock and Roll.
Get up together, have some fun. It's so good when you're down and you're tired of everyone. In the morning when you're feeling blue, in the evening when you've nothing to do. Don't you know what's all going round? Dance to the new rock and roll, yeah. Nothing to do. In the evening when you've got everyone, come around, let's do what's going on. Dance to the new rock and roll, yeah. Let's all get up and have some fun. It's so good when you're down and you're tired of everyone. No good at all. In the morning when you're feeling blue, in the evening when you've nothing to do. Don't you know what's all going round? Dance to the new rock and roll, yeah.
1975 saw the departure of Bob Turmel and Peter X Tremblay as Oliver Klaus continued on its journey with Brian Blain on bass and Michael Burke as lead guitarist. This latest edition of Oliver Klaus continued to play at the Terrace Inn to a packed house. Brian Blain had been in and out of the Klaus circle for years and had even played on some of the tracks of the Lewiston recording sessions of 1973-74. He was a singer-songwriter and performer and still is today. Michael Burke had had experience in the music business in the United States. He was a member of the band Soul Survivors, a band that had achieved success in the U.S. He had settled in the Eastern Townships for a change of pace. His joining of Oliver Klaus gave the band a jolt of 70s contemporary rock that helped the band to continue to establish its success in the townships. The next song you will hear is by Paul McCartney, Listen to What the Man Said, recorded live at the Terrace Inn in 1975.
Okay. The ultimate in commercialism. It's a song by Paul McCartney called Listen to What the Man Said. Anytime, any day,
is blind, but I don't know 'cause I say love is kind. Soldier boy kisses girl, and leaves behind a tragic world. But he don't mind, 'cause he's the man that believes that love is fine. Oh, yes, indeed, you know, we don't find a way to go, no matter what the man said. And love is fine for all we know. For all we know, our love might grow. It's what the man said. Won't you listen to what the man said? He said, take it away. Oh, yes, indeed, you know, if you don't find a way to go, no matter what the man said. And love is fine for all we know. For all we know, our love might grow. That's what the man said. Won't you listen to what the man said? He said, oh, yes, indeed, you know, if you don't find a way to go, no matter what the man said. And love is fine for all we know. For all we know, our love might grow. That's what the man said. Won't you listen to what the man said? He said, wonder of it all, baby. Wonder of it all, baby. Wonder of it all, baby. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Wonder of it all, baby. Wonder of it all, baby. Wonder of it all, baby. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Thank you. Okay, we've had a special request.
In 1996, Pascal Gauthier was Oliver Klaus's manager. Because Donald K. Donald, back in the 1970s, was Oliver Klaus's booking agent, Pascal arranged to have an interview with Donald to ask him about what he thought of Oliver Klaus. The footage was to be used at an event celebrating 25 years of Oliver Klaus, to be held at the Maison de la Culture here in Waterloo. Here is an excerpt from the interview.
Hi, I'm Donald K. Donald. Oliver Klaus was a fantastic group. 25 years ago, I was predominantly an agent as opposed to a concert promoter. I promoted a little bit, and I promoted some of the group shows at the Montreal Forum, but we were basically agents representing all the top attractions in Canada. And there was a band out of Waterloo who were the do-it-yourself band. In fact, 25 years ago, if I had known the things that I know now, and if my career had developed with the kind of positioning that we have today, Oliver Klaus probably would have been bigger than the Eagles, at least bigger than America. They were in that same vein, Buffalo Springfield. They just knew how to play, they knew how to sing, they knew how to write great songs, and they did a couple of covers that were just sensational. I called them the Do-It-Yourself Band, and I enjoyed the years I worked with them, and I hope to work with them in the future again. Thank you very much.
I'd like to finish the show with an Oliver Klaus tune, Here Comes the Sun, taken from the band's self-titled album of 1970. I'd like to thank everyone for tuning in. I'm Maurice Singfield. Until next time.